Good evening and welcome back to another Saturday night movie night. This week's video that we will be jumping into is the reboot of the Evil Dead series, which Evil Dead. Before we hop on into that, if you are new here, my name is Kristen. I am on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as Krista's Beauty. I am a hairstylist in Richmond, Virginia, but I also like to dive into the spooky, scary realm of things. If you are watching on YouTube, you know the drill, bell icon, and just stay up to date with all of our scary movies. I will be posting a Saturday night movie night every Saturday up into Halloween. Let's go ahead and roll in with the spooky.
Alrighty, so Evil Dead, the reboot of the 3 original Evil Dead series. This came out in 2013, and it's sort of like, it's almost in a way kind of like the Friday the 13th reboot, where they kind of all in one, kind of put all of the movies in a way together and create a story that way. So reimagining of the classic Evil Dead, and it's basically the sort of, classic cabin in the woods scenario. You got a group of people and they all get together for this cabin, get together in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. It's different in this case where it's more, there's like a brother and sister connection relationship here, and the sister is trying to basically get off of drugs and get clean, and the friends get the brother to come in as like reinforcements, because apparently this is something she has done several times before, and it's basically just a whatever she does, do not let her out of this house. Like, we're not letting her give up on sobriety, which is great because she's going to be the one that starts, seeing things and going crazy and, having the evil in her, essentially, except they don't do as crazy, I guess, like demonic as they do in the originals. I guess they do kind of in a way though, but it's all CGI. It's not, real effects or anything like that. But in the end, one by one, and they, of course, find that old book down in the basement, which they read aloud, thus summoning the Evil Dead of the woods, and unlocking it, and they all slowly, one by one, get taken over, possessed by this, demonic entity or whatever, and slowly, start to kill themselves basically through this. So it's really good. And then the girl actually is the one who lives through all of it, which I think that's kind of like a plot twist. But it's a really good, it's a really, really good kind of remake of any of, old classic. It's probably one of the best, I would say, of old classic slasher horror film. Alright, now jumping into some fun facts. Even though I just said this, and thinking back on this, I'm not really sure how they did this. I guess, alright, so the director is claiming there really is no CGI used in this film. I could see that with everything except the girl being possessed and in the basement, just because of how she looks, but maybe that all was, I don't know, I can't think of the word for it, like real effect. I don't know, maybe that all was makeup. I really don't know though. Apparently, I'm completely wrong on most things having to do with this, because it's not supposed to be a reboot. It's actually supposed to be a sequel to the original 3, I guess, the series, which, does make sense because you don't have a continuation of any of the characters. Nothing. It sounds to me like it's almost like they went to the same woods, maybe even, or just something very similar. Who knows? It could even be the same cabin, just like revamped, But it's all supposed to be in the same universe, and it's supposed to be a sequel to the originals. So that's pretty cool, which makes sense, again, because it's totally different characters, kind of a different-esque plot, so that's pretty cool. Also, going back on that, when I say it could have been a revamped cabin, I don't mean literally like they didn't film it that way. I mean, like, you know, in the story or in this universe, it could, as part of the plot, be the same cabin, just revamped. Because what they did do was they wanted to film very similar to the original movie, so they found a abandoned cabin in the woods and kind of fix it up themselves, and that was where they shot most of this movie in. They were very adamant about not having cheap scares or jump scares in this, because they're cheap, they're really unnecessary, it's not really scaring you. He wanted everything to actually, you know, if you were scared, it would be for a reason, not just because it was a cheap kind of in-the-moment thing, and the music doesn't cue up just for no real suspense. Like, it's really built and really drawn out really nicely, which, in my opinion, is better, because you need actual things to ride off of. If you've got to rely your movie on cheap and jump scares, like, it's probably not that good. It doesn't have a good enough plot to hold its own. Oh my god, this one's too good. So, when they were filming, so the actor who plays the character David, who's the older brother of the main girl, there's a part in there where he's like burying his sister, and he's very sad, but also very afraid of being out in the woods and just being afraid of, you know, the craziness that's going on. And they actually like left him out in the woods for 10 minutes prior to filming, and even told him like old folklore of being in the woods just to really like scare him, so they could, you know, get the intensity in him to make such a good scene, which is just so intense. I mean, talk about like method acting to another level. I keep seeing this over and over, so I guess this is pretty surprising to a lot of people, but apparently 95% of this movie was shot in order, like chronological, like how the movie lays out. That's how they shot it. I guess it makes sense just because of, you know, like different props, blood, things like that they would need. They also used like a ton, oh god, I gotta see how much it was again, but they used a ton of fake blood while filming that final scene where it's literally raining blood. Okay, 50,000 gallons of blood they used in one day just to really do that ending of, you know, the raining, pouring blood, and her with the chainsaw and everything. God, it's so good. I love anything with a lot of blood. I think that's why I love Carrie. Like, I love anything with, like, raining, pouring blood. So originally, when they were looking at even doing a reboot, everyone except Bruce Campbell was on board. He was actually a little bit reluctant, just because, you know, being such a cult classic, really, and having the cult following that Evil Dead has, he was kind of thinking that, you know, it was really going to make some fans mad, which I'm sure it did, as it always, you know, these sort of things do. But eventually, after talking to the directors about it, he kind of settled down and realized that, you know, we can make this, if we all work together, we can make this something that we're all very proud about. And it really does a great job of bringing it, you know, into the 2000s in a way. Like, really making it an actual scary, still over the top, but not over the top, like, comedic, over the top, like, horror. And, like, it's just so raw and real, even though, again, it's still supernatural. It still has just a raw horror element to it that you capture a lot differently than the original did. So it definitely holds its own weight, I think, personally, as a, you know, modern horror film. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this sort of, I guess not reboot, I guess it's technically a sequel. And let me know, do you love it, hate it, prefer the original? I don't know. I typically don't prefer, with movies like this, one over the other if I don't have huge attachment.
Thank you so much for watching again, and I hope you have a great, awesome, spooky week, and I will see you next Saturday with another movie. Stay spooky.